Okay, on this week's One Image My Edit, I'm going to be showing you how you can create double exposures using two images, blending them together so that you get something along the lines of this. So it's quite a creative process. It's really good fun to do, and it's quite straightforward, so not too complex. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to crop this so it is more of a square image. It just makes it a lot easier to work with. And then what I'm going to do is come up to the quick selection tool. Now you can select the subject, or you can come up to the top here where it says select subject, and Photoshop will do a pretty good job for us. So once we've done that, I'm going to press Command J, and what that will do, that actually duplicate the layer. So if we come over to the layers now and then get rid of the background layer, you can see there it's actually cut it out for us. Okay. I'm going to go to the crop tool and actually going to crop this a little bit larger, just so we've got some more room to work with there. There we go. And I think actually I might come in a little bit closer up to here, so we're just getting neck level. So there we go. That's nice, simple and easy to do. And depending on your image will determine, you know, whereabouts you want to crop, but it's a good idea to give yourself a little bit of room to play around with. Okay, so once we've done that, we then want to add a layer mask. So just come down to add layer mask. There we go. And now I want to come over to my second picture. So this is this kind of forest on a river. So all you want to do is come up to the move tool. Okay, click and hold in the middle of the picture, drag it up until you go to your previous image. Keep the button down on the mouse, drag it to the center point, and then let go. Then what we want to do is we want to transform it. So that enables us to move this around, and all you need to do is press Command T, and that will transform it. And now we can scale this, so we can move this around. So it's a good idea to come up where it says layer 2, what we just imported, is come to the opacity and bring that down to around 50%. That means then we can get an idea of positioning, where we want to put this, how we want the image to look. You know, is there important parts that we want to keep and elements and things like that. So you can mess around and just keep playing until things seem to fit. And each image is going to be completely different. So, you know, you just need to go with what you've got. I'm going to go, I think if I just make this a little bit bigger, it's worth taking your time with this, because it's, you know, you're going to get a better result if you just kind of think about where things are going. Okay, so I'm happy with that. So I can just press enter, and that gives us a pretty good idea. So again, we want to come down and add a layer mask to that. Okay, and let's bring the opacity back up to 100%. So now we've got the image there of the tree. So what we want to do is create what's known as a clipping mask. So we're going to clip this image to the portrait, and to do that you just hold down the option key. So you come onto here, hold down the option key, and then you'll see that this little box and arrow will appear. Click that, and that's now clipped it to our face. Okay, so now what we can do is start using these masks that we created here to manipulate the image. So first thing I'm going to do actually is I'm going to make these black and white, because there's a lot of different colors, as you can see, with the skin and then with the trees. So I'm just going to come up to image, adjustment, and come down to desaturate, and then do the same on this one here. Image, adjustment, desaturate, or you could press Shift Command U, and that does the same thing. Okay, so let's have a look then. So these masks here, so we're on white. Let's come to the brush tool, and we want to be selecting black. Because this is a white mask, we need to be black to reveal it. Okay, if we come up to the top where the brushes are, you've got hardness, so I'm going to bring that right down. And for now, I'm just going to bring the flow and the opacity right down as well. So that just means I'm going to get a real soft edit. and it will just help it blend a lot easier. So what I'm going to do now is just start painting in the face. So in essence what we're doing is bringing back parts of the portrait. And again, you want to be you know, thinking about this, how you want it to look, which bits you want to reveal. So I want to definitely reveal the eye there. That's quite an integral part of the image. And the reason why I do this with such a low opacity is because I can just, you know, if I bring the opacity down up here as well, I can kind of get a lay of the land of, okay, what's important for this shot. So, you know, it's always going to be an eye. It's always going to be features, so like the eyebrow, this eye over here, and this nose, and the lips, and then the chin. So it just helps, you know, give you a better blend, I think. And then when you start pushing this up, you can push the flow up, push the opacity up, and you'll see that that will just start to reveal a little bit more of that portrait. There we go. So we can see there, we can just start getting the eye back. And then let's come down to here, the nose and the mouth. Make the brush a little bit smaller. And I think as well, you can bring these down here. If you then make the brush bigger, you can then start to just dab in areas, and that helps with this here, because there's a definite line down here. So if I start just clicking, it's gonna help just blend. So I can click and drag a little bit. There we go. And then up here. So if you make a mistake like that, then you just come back over to the white, and that will start adding it back in. So again, you can use that to your advantage just to help blend. Okay, but play around with this flow and opacity. It's all about just taking your time and changing the brush sizes just to get a really, really nice blend. And it's up to you how much of this face you want to reveal. You know, do you want to, there we go. Do you want to add more down here? Okay, it's entirely up to you how you do that. Sometimes it's nice to have a little bit more of the face in, especially when it comes around to the eyes there, because it just helps with the portrait, revealing a little bit more of the face. Because if you end up just using the background, then you end up with quite a heavy shot. So you need some of that portrait in to make it work, and it's just a case of just blending it in. Okay, and it's all about these opacities and flows. I can't tell you enough of how important they are. Okay, right, so let's just say we're happy with that. That's fine. So the other thing that we can do is come over to the actual face, and we made another mask here, didn't we? So what we can do, again, the black and white, if I start painting this in, you can see that's going to start deleting the shot. If I flip over to the white, then you can see that's not going to do anything, and that's because we're on white. So what I like to do is use the eraser tool. So you can use a magic eraser tool on this here, so the actual background image. Now before I do this, I'm going to add a solid color, because we've actually got a bit of a cutout going on here, haven't we? So in fact, no, I'll do that in a minute. I'll walk you through this process. I'm jumping ahead, my apologies. So I'm going to use the eraser tool, and if I come down and use the magic eraser tool, what that's going to do is pick up, can you see this white area here? So if I click, there you go. Can you see what that's doing? Click. Okay, and you can come up to here and change your tolerance. That's really important, because if it's on, say, 20 and I click, it can end up over deleting, which it's not doing, which is typical. But yeah, you know, you can change this tolerance, and that will really, really help just fine tune. And if you press the shift key as well, you end up with a cursor, a crosshair, rather than the actual eraser tool. So take your time, you can just dab away. Now for me, the main aspect is these top areas here. Can you see? I want these to look like tops of trees. I want them to look sharp. But just doing these little bits here will help you in the long run and give you a better better result. But if we then switch it over to the eraser tool, we can then just make that brush a little bit smaller. We can then just tidy it up so we can get rid of bits here, like there, just to make these edges look a little bit sharper. So yeah, you get the idea of what you can do. Okay, I quite like that. That's looking quite cool. Again, we can use the magic eraser tool to do maybe some of the bottom parts here if we wanted. See, I'm overshot it there, so Command Z just to bring it back. Bring this tolerance down to say 10, and then we can just start picking out parts if we want to. So like these highlighted areas if we wanted to. So we could, you know, really create a good shape for this. I'm just going to go back. Okay, just to give you an idea, because each picture is going to be very, very different. All right. So in eraser tool, and maybe just pick out some of them treetops up there, look, just to make them a little bit sharper. Okay, you don't have to do this stage. This is totally up to you, but I like to do this just because I feel like it gives it a little bit more character and a little bit more life. So you can just sit and play with that until you get it spot on. And you can also, remember, come back to this here, which is the background. You can press Command T and you can still move this around afterwards. Okay, so don't feel like you can't. You can adjust things if it's not lining up as well. So let's just go back to the brush tool, and with this face here, I think I want a little bit of a softer blend. So I'm going to bring this right down, really, really low, and create a big brush and just blend that a little bit, and it will just help. Just help with that transition. There you go. So we're starting to almost get a little bit of hair, and that looks quite nice, doesn't it? Because it's now blending in with that tree. Can you see? You see why I've done that? Yeah. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that solid color. So what that's going to do is get rid of the background, because in essence the background's been deleted, hasn't it? So just come down to the bottom here, go up to solid color. Okay, and you can select any color you want really. I'm just going to go with white, and then I'm going to click and drag that underneath the bottom there, and there you go. You can see that gives us our solid color. Now we can still work on this. We can still erase things. We can still, you know, do all the things that we were doing a minute ago. We can come back onto here, use the eraser tool, and again we can bring the opacity and the flow down, and we can still decide how heavy we want that brush to be. So it's still an eraser tool, but we're just changing the brush that we're using. So then we could just start painting in here, and we could get some sharper lines if we wanted to. Okay, so you can see there, you can really take your time and just perfect it, and it is really worth doing this. It's just playing around. I like to, with the treetops, I like to make sure that they're sharp. So I wouldn't necessarily have this line here, which is a cutoff. I would work it so that becomes a point, which is more like around here. If we wanted to take this out, we could. Okay, so you get the idea. You get the idea of what you can do, and you can jump around between them as well. Okay, so if we come to here, this is gonna, you can see what that's going to do. That's going to start revealing this face there. Okay, so you've got a lot of options to do on them, but that's how you do it. It's as simple as that. That's the easiest way I find to do it. Again, you can, there's lots we can do. There's lots I can do with this just to make it look a little bit better. For instance, we could start erasing this part here. I'm not really keen on this section. And again, we could just blend that if we wanted to. And that looks quite nice, like that. Same with this back end here. Okay, so you get the idea. You get the idea of what you can do. And once you've finished, then you can either just leave it as it is and just go to File, Save, and then save it as a Photoshop file format, or you can of course come down to Layer, Flatten Image, or Merge Visible. Now the thing is, once you merge visible, you can't go back and change it. So I would advise that you save it. You can save it as a TIFF file or a Photoshop file, and then what that means is that once you save that and you open it back up, okay, so it's just asked me, do I want to save it that, because including the layers will increase the file size. So now that means that when I open this file up, I will have the layers, so I can come back at a later date and like refine these areas around here on the cheek and things like that. Okay, so I hope that's helped. I hope you enjoyed that. I look forward to seeing your double exposures. Like I said, they're very, very cool. I love doing them. They're lots of fun. Just get it right. Take your time. Make sure that you get, you know, all these edges so that they're looking more like how it is here. As you can see there, we've got tops of trees and things like that. It looks really, really good and really, really effective. So I hope that helps. I look forward to seeing yours. Take care. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.